Welcome, you guys, to Heal Black Joy podcast. Hi, I'm Lola Troy, the host and the curator of Heal Black Joy, the learning platform for our community to heal our Black joy with tangible and attainable programs for the mind, body, soul, relationships, and businesses. And in today's conversation, we're going to continue our True Serum series. The topic is Heal Men, Heal Family. And today, my guests are the Kingdom Bros. The Kingdom Bros is a tandem of dynamic Black men, Gerald Thompson and David Noble, who came together to leverage their personal healing journeys to facilitate community dialogue around trauma and healing. They host a series on Sundays on IG called Wake and Rise, which is awesome. You guys need to tune in on Sunday morning. I've had the pleasure of listening into several of their shows, and they have done the work, and it's just so authentic and transparent. And it's an exchange of information that lends to healing our community. So I'm going to get them in. Let's see here. Hey,
Hey, how are you,
how
Lola?
are
It's a
you?
pleasure to meet you. I'm doing phenomenal.
I know. I'm going to try to get my other brother in as well. He's coming in. He's coming in.
Can you see me?
I do not.
All right. Let me see if we can switch this around here.
There you go.
Hey.
How are
Yeah.
you, my good brothers?
I'm feeling amazing. I'm super excited. How about yourself, Brother G? How you feeling?
I'm blessed. We are blessed. We are blessed to be here with you. Absolutely.
I am so blessed to have you guys on. I remember when you guys spoke with Leon Walker. He told me to tune in, and so when I tuned in to you guys, I was like, I love that we got some brothers that are transparent, that are honest, that are doing the work. There's this tribe of people on IG that are really honing in on our community. We love our community. We're trying to push the culture forward. And we just like to have authentic conversations. We're doing the deep dives that a lot of people are not doing. And hopefully they'll jump on board. So I'm
Absolutely.
just excited to have you guys here on this platform.
Yeah.
Well, we're excited to be here. We appreciate you having us on your platform, Lola. And we're ready to get into the conversation because we know how vital it is. We speak on it every week, and we're actually doing the work, as you said. And you are a kingdom sister as well in this fight, and we thank you for aligning and sharing this message and keeping it going.
Absolutely. This month at Heal Black Joy, I did something totally, I'm a person that doesn't like to do what everybody else does. And everybody's like, well, this is Women's History Month. And I was like, yeah, but I do women's topics all the time. And because I have Heal Black Joy tribe members that are men, they're like, Lola, when you going to do something for us, right? So back in October, I did an ode to Black men. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to do this every 3-4 months, just so my brothers know that we are looking out for them. We want to talk to the things that you guys deal with each and every day. Even though I have a tribe of women, we still need to have those deep dive conversations with our brothers. So I did the same thing this month. So this month we talked about holistic living, mindset, mood, narcissism, PTSD, relationships, sexual addiction versus finding value in yourself. And then last week we talked to Dr. Obari Cartman. I saw that you guys were on, and we discussed his curriculum, which was Manifest, a manhood development experience for Black boys and men in African-centered health framework. So now we want to get into our topic, which is heal men, heal family. And it was so crazy. I think I sent a message to Brother G, and I was like, yo, I sent this topic out like way before anything popped off on social media over the weekend. And wouldn't it be like for us to be in alignment with what's going on in today's news? So in talking about men, our brothers, our fathers, our husbands, our partners and friends, we understand that we've all experienced trauma in our community. And divinely enough, like I said, I put this month's topic together, and we were just in alignment with what was going on that happened at the Oscars, and it set the media on fire. So let's get into these questions. I know you guys have already kind of, the journey of healing is an ongoing journey. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. So when did you guys become aware that this was something that you needed to personally work on? And how has that journey helped heal your family or your sphere of influence? Like, because I know when you start healing from the inside out, it not only resonates with your family, but your family, like your friends, your homies, all your, you know, everybody that you are around, that resonates. Sometimes it resonates, and sometimes people might be apprehensive to be like, okay, well, you know, he acting a little different or she acting a little different. But how did that affect your group of people?
I'll let you go.
You okay? Well, I would say my journey to healing started just coming out of a bad relationship a couple of years ago, and just having to deal with the hurt that transpired after that. Yeah, so I had to be honest. You know, obviously, you know, a lot of times with men and especially Black men, we don't like to be honest with ourselves and say we're deeply hurt by a relationship. So I had to, you know, be honest with myself and just let it be known that I was hurt. I am hurt. And so I started my journey to healing, actually just over a year ago, about 15 months ago. And it is probably the best thing I've ever done in my life. You know, I actually, you know, I got a therapist. And when that process of finding a therapist for me started, I sent out a bunch of emails and requests and just trying to find a person that was going to link up with me. And it was one person that got back to me. And she actually is my therapist. She has been my therapist for a year. And I said, all right, you're my person. And so we've been riding out. I've had to be transparent with her. I've had to be transparent with my brother Dave, my family, everybody. And, you know, just to answer your question, everybody has been really, really supportive because they know where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
They know the person I am. They know what I've gone through and where I'm going. And so I cannot wish anything. I can't wish for anything better. My friends, my family, my tribe, everybody's been really, really supportive as I continue my journey through healing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How about you, Brother Dave?
Wow. It's always a pleasure to hear my brother Gerald speak on his journey, because I can relate in so many different facets. Like I began my journey back in like 2015, but before that I had been a little bitter. My self-esteem was a little low. You know, I was dealing with some angers and frustrations from my parents' divorce. It was a lot of different things that I was dealing with, and you know, I wasn't being the best version of myself, to be honest, Lola. Like, you know, there was things that I wanted to do in my life.
Yeah. And
my anger stopped me. So in 2015, my wife gave me an ultimatum. She said, listen, you know, she wasn't my wife at that point yet. We got married in 2016.
Yeah.
But she said, you know what, David, I think that, you know, you're going to be a real detriment to the family if you don't, you know, get a handle on your anger, get a handle on your frustration and your bitterness. She was like, honestly, you and we're not in tune, because you think that your frustration and your anger is my responsibility, and it isn't.
Woo.
So I didn't take a back to it, because at that point I was somewhat tired and ready, you know, to begin my healing journey. Yeah. So I said, okay, you know, we have 3 children, and I understood that if I didn't get in alignment with me and to become a better person for me, that I knew that my family was going to suffer. So just as well as my brother Gerald, I took to the books. You know, I had a health benefits. So I said, you know, let me utilize my behavioral health benefits. And I found a therapist, and I got in alignment with him, and it was extremely tough, Lord, in the beginning, just to kind of just open up and be truly transparent and really talk about things that I had never really expressed. You know, things that I had shared with my brother G after. the fact. But in the beginning, it was real tough.
Yeah.
But as therapy started to go along, I started to see not only changes in myself, but I started to see changes in my family. My different associations started to open up for me. My mind just really started to become more vulnerable to healing rather than be vulnerable to pain.
Ooh,
And
that's good.
my mother passed away in 2017. So at that point, I had already been healing for 2 years, but I still really wasn't quite myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, you know what? I have to double down on this healing. I can't just allow my therapist to be just my sole provider for my healing. So, I went to YouTube. I call it YouTube University. Every motivational speak I could find, every podcast I could find. I was getting personal development books, and I started really like honing in. I created a podcast called the Noble One Podcast, and just started speaking life into not only myself, but into those who I know who were dealing with the same issues, who were dealing with the same challenges. My brother Gerald and I reconnected after quite some time of not speaking and not intentional. Just life just took us in different directions.
Yeah.
And here we are, wake and rise. We are the Kingdom Brothers. And ever since then, my wife and I, we're doing phenomenal. I see my kids starting to be more receptive to me. And I'm starting to see a lot of who I was and others. And that's what's giving me the battery and the energy to continue along this fight. So this is my purpose.
Isn't it like, man, isn't it like just divine when when you start peeling back those layers of trauma, peeling back those layers of pain, peeling back those layers of hurt, and then you discover that real self, not the ego, but your real truest self. And then the creator just aligns you with people, places, opportunities. It's like the world becomes your oyster at that point, right? Because when you're in divine alignment with whatever your purpose is, things will just start aligning. You'll just start attracting the people, the places, the opportunities that you're supposed to be in to speak. You said you were speaking life to it and speaking life to people. And those things are always reciprocated back to you because of what you pour out.
Right.
You guys do this all the time. And it's just, oh my God, just to hear, and I don't want to sound like this is a taboo thing, but I get excited when I hear Black men that are transparent about their healing journey and they understand, like, we didn't get this right. We didn't either. As Black women, we did not get it right. What our parents passed down to us, they didn't get it right. They got whatever they got from their parents and their parents. And so with African-American families, we've experienced historical and intergenerational trauma, but we know that healed families are not possible without healed individuals. And you guys both stated that when you started your healing journey, then you started discovering things in your family and your sphere of influence started to change, right? And so sometimes trauma sometimes trauma causes anybody to be less present and not accountable. Like it will cause us to be less present. Like sometimes we're ashamed, sometimes we're embarrassed, sometimes we don't really know what to do with it. So we retreat. And a lot of times, especially in our community, our Black men, our fathers, I can say this for my own father and my brother and my sphere of men that I know and their fathers that I grew up around, there were two switches. It was either I'm going to retreat and not say anything, or I'm going to blow at any given moment. There was no in between to those emotions, right? So what are some intentional and practical steps that our men can employ to be more present and be more accountable when dealing with those traumas or dealing with those issues and their emotions that they don't know the in-between stages of being not present or being fully present and explosive?
Brother, you wanna start there?
Oh yeah, I will. I think the very first thing that they can do is actually just get around, other brothers who are actually a little further along in their journey. Association is key, and we talk about it all the time. You know, you have to really reverse engineer who you decide to be around. You have to have an out of body experience and really get uncomfortable, and that means change up who you dealing with. Because a lot of times we get comfortable with, well, I grew up with her, I grew up with him, but you know, as you grow, you know, it's certain requirements. You know, there's an evolution process that goes on, and adversity is going to hit, challenges are going to hit, and if those individuals that you know grew up with don't align with where you're going, that doesn't make them, you know, horrible individuals. You can love them from afar, but you need to get with a tribe. And I think that's what, you know, Brother Gerald and I, we decided to do. We said, you know, we're going to align with individuals who can not only help us, but we can help. It can be mutualism. It can be reciprocal at all costs. So I think the number one step for our kings is to really reverse engineer who they are associating themselves with, because you need someone who's going to be able to pour into you, you know, really fill your cup up with the things that you need until you're able to do it on your own. And that's what we decided to do.
I got an addendum question for you. And I know this happens all the time in our community. And the reason why I'm bringing it up, because when I interviewed a brother a few months ago during that Ode to Black Men, and he was talking about boundaries. That was his topic. But he said, a lot of us don't know the difference between allegiance and relationship. And that stuck out to me because it's just like he said, you will pledge an allegiance to a group of people, to a block, to a gang, to a whatever your friend group is, to your family members, and you have it. It's not like they're pouring back into you. There's no level of reciprocity. It's nobody, you know, telling you anything that's going to further along your life in a positive way. And it's just like, oh, because that's my homeboy, and that's because that's my, you know, my dude I grew up with. You know, I'm just going to stick around him. How do Black men break out of that cycle of allegiance and understanding what allegiance is versus relationship?
Well, that's a very, very loaded. It's so many levels and so many things we have to dive into. You know, because, you know, if we look back to the evolution of gangs, the whole thought of it is that you have some people that are going to be there to support you, that you have some people that's going to be there to protect you. But when you look up at the end of the day, you're still by yourself in so many levels, you know, that you're going to, you know, God forbid you get into a situation, you know, who is there going to really support you through those really tough times. And so allegiance and relationships definitely are two different things. And we go through that in so many aspects of our lives. You know, when we have relationships with our partner, sometimes we pledge allegiance to a relationship, you know, rather than really find out what it is that we're getting out of relationship. Is it, you know, interdependent in that relationship, right? So we get married into these long-term relationships, and we pledge allegiance to it because, you know, it was the right thing at the time. But sometimes what we have to do is spend time with ourselves. And to answer your question, Black men have to spend time with themselves, right? And so if you find yourself on the block, to Brother Dave's point, you find yourself on the block or you're with your friends all the time, you gotta be able to, you know, find some time for yourself and really understand, what do I like to do? You know, do I like cooking? Do I like to hang out, you know, with my cat and my parents or my children, whatever it is. Whatever it is that you want to do, you have to figure that thing out and be with yourself, right? Yeah. Allegiance is difficult to break because, you know, we're scared to be by ourselves, right? We're scared that the boogeyman is going to come out and grab us and pull us into the closet. No, there's no boogeyman there. It's just toxic people in your environment, and so we have to be intentional about being with ourselves and not being scared and not really you know, not and being confident to let people know, like, nah, I'm going to go do this by myself. I'll catch y'all, you know, some other time. You know, that is one thing that Dave and I were doing. And that's how we really reconnected, is that he actually had a podcast and he was doing well with the podcast and I was doing stuff on IG, you know, two different mediums of communicating, but we were speaking the same language.
Right.
He was by himself.
Yeah.
You know, he was talking about his healing journey and I was talking about my healing journey. And then like you were saying, you know, just as the universe will peel away the folks that don't need to be in your life, it's also going to peel away everything that you need to find that person that you need to connect with.
Yeah. Man. Oh my God, you guys. My people are just hearting it up. You guys are just, I gotta sit and process everything that both of you just said. There was so much in what both of you just said that I'm trying to now catch up so that I can jump in and throw in my thought process on it. Why are we afraid to be by ourselves? What is it about us that we're scared of? What is it about us?
Wow.
It's the accountability. We talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
The accountability, that right there is fighting words for every one of us. We're human. Every one of us who are living, breathing creatures on this planet Earth, accountability is kryptonite because it actually introduces the real you to you. So when it's time, we talk about the proverbial dark room, like when you got to be by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And this pandemic actually exposed all of us.
Mm-hmm.
It exposed those who have been doing the work before the city shut down, and it exposed those who didn't do the work after the city reopened. And we can see that right now. Like there were individuals who were just waiting for the mayor to say, you know what? Yep, you can go back to the bars, you can go back to the lounge, because it's so much easier to put your pain and what you're not on someone else rather than you look in that mirror. That mirror is hard, Lola.
That mirror is so hard.
It's tough. It's tough. But once again, you know, to Brother G's point, you know, when you speak on allegiance and relationships, a lot of times as young Black men, we form these allegiances, and we don't understand that what goes on in our what's reflected in our lives is based off of the allegiance.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that at this point, I couldn't no longer form any allegiances with anyone else besides my Heavenly Father, my wife, my children, and my healing.
Mm-hmm.
Because I knew that time capsule that someone else is going to dig up, when I'm no longer here, they're going to be able to say, okay, Dave was able to do what he was supposed to do, and now we're going to reap the benefit from it. But we are scared to go in that dark room, Lola, because we understand that there's an intentionality that comes with it.
Yeah.
When you talk about healing, it's lifelong. It's not like a one day. It's not we get on the live today and then that's it. Yeah. It's like an everyday thing.
Yeah.
It's ebbs and flows. So to your point, we just don't want to. We don't want to look ourselves in a mirror because with accountability comes responsibility.
Yes, sir.
Accountability comes with responsibility. That's a bar. Mm-hmm. That is a bar. And that's what you were saying when I was saying what are those practical steps to become more accountable? How do we become more accountable? You said sitting with yourself, being by yourself, because being by yourself allows us to peel back those layers and looking in the mirror. And right now, we are a group of people. We're beautiful, you know. Aesthetically, we can pull it together. We know how to get the hair cut, get our nails done, hair done, everything did. And the guys can put on a suit, put on some J's and look the part. But on the inside, it's not sustainable because you're aesthetically doing it on the outside, but the inside is not right. The inside is hurting. The inside is pained and trauma filled. What about that? Why can't we look in the mirror and say, okay, I know I look good on the outside, but I don't feel good on the inside? Why can't we have that real honest conversation and start getting to peeling back those layers so that we can actually feel how we look on the outside.
We're still worrying about the outside individual. You know, we're having, you know, inside conversations with outside people. And the inside conversation is the conversation we should be having with ourselves, but we having that inside conversation with other people, our friends, our family, and, you know, everybody else.
Can I add to that?
Yes,
We were groomed to have outside validation, though.
Yes.
We were groomed to have it, whether it's in, you know, religious practices, whether it's, you know, when we were in school and we needed our parents to applaud us because we got good grades, whether if we played sports or we played an instrument or we sang or we did some kind of art, we got people that are cheering us on from the sidelines. So it's easier to get that external validation than to get the internal validation. So it's like a switch. It's almost like, because we were groomed for that, we're always looking for it. Until the boogeyman hits us in the face and says, hey, you know, because once you start getting older, you know, the applause slows down and then it stops. And then you got to look at yourself in the mirror one day.
Yeah, we're still looking for that affirming from other folks, when in actuality everything that we need is already in us. Everything that we need, everything that we need to continue and start this healing journey is already in us. It's already in our household. It's already in the room, and it starts with us. It really does start with, you know, I can't, you know, don't get me wrong, this healing journey that we talk about every week, every day. It is you know, it can be tough, it can be daunting, but I can, and I'm sure Dave can say the same thing. Once you begin it and you're going through it, it is amazing. The feelings that you get, the cleaning, the cleansing that you get from the healing that you're learning and you know, taking advantage of, it's unlike anything you've ever felt.
Yeah.
But we've been told that the person that's by themselves is crazy, right? That person that's sitting over there, you know, just minding their business, trying to get their spirit right, or the person that's having lunch, just eating by yourself, going to the movies by yourself. You go to the movies by yourself, you do lunch by yourself. What? People look at you crazy for doing things for yourself.
Yeah.
So back when we get that haircut, we getting a haircut to go outside and be with other people. We're not getting haircuts because haircuts make me feel good. But we getting haircuts because we got to go outside and please and show everybody I'm good, you know, outside aesthetically, right?
Yeah.
So it's that affirming that we're looking for, but in actuality, everything that we need is sitting in the chair where we're sitting on right now. Everything that we need.
Indeed.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Everybody's in the comments like, leave me to myself. I'm working on me. Yeah, I think now we have the verbiage and the tools. Before we didn't have the emotional tools in our toolbox to, one, recognize there were some things that we need to work on, because our generation, I'm pushing 50, and my parents' generation, they didn't go to therapy, right? they didn't go to therapy. They kept it in the household, or they might have taken it to God, but they didn't go to therapy. And so my generation is like in that in between, you know, keep it in the house. We don't want to talk about it. And then my daughter's generation is like, okay, what is this going on right here? They're going to expose everything because they're like, no, we're not going to hush about it. I want to talk about this. I need to talk about my feelings and my emotions, because this is something I'm dealing with and you need to know about it.
Yes.
So I'm in the in-between generation where it's like, yeah, I want to talk about it, but I'm not sure if I need to talk about it, because we were told whatever goes on in this house stays in this house, right? So I think now we have the language, we have the emotional toolbox where we can put words to things and we can identify what those things are. Last week I posed the question to Dr. Cartman about what we as Black women can do to support the healing journey of our brothers. And I always ask this question because, one, I'm a woman of nurture, and then two, I know that my audience are Black women, and sometimes they have a hard time expressing that. He first started off by saying that we shouldn't have to take on that responsibility first. Men have to become responsible for their own healing journey. And he also stated that when we are supporting you guys, make it a safe space. A lot of times we as Black women, we don't know how to hold space for Black men from a non-judgmental place, right? So what does that support look like for Black men? And one question from one of my HBJ tribe sisters who's in the building, shout out to Kai Kelly. She sent me this question today and I thought it was a great question. She said, what are some of the most valuable traits in a woman that every man needs?
Wow.
On this healing journey?
Brother Dave.
Wow. So to answer your first question about how Black women can support Black men on our healing journey, I think from a real practical sense, it's okay not to understand us. Like, it's okay. I think that a lot of times we get so caught up in trying to understand. And my wife and I, you know, we were speaking about this the other day. The frustration comes in the most when we're trying to figure each other out, especially during this journey.
Oh my God.
Oftentimes you're coming into the relationship with baggage. I'm coming into a relationship with baggage. We're both broken. So that's two broken individuals trying to get the other to understand.
Yeah.
So to really support us is you don't really have to understand, but a level of respect and affirmation. And I'm quite sure you read the book, The 5 Love Languages.
Yes. Yeah.
By Gary Chapman. Oh my goodness. We just speak in different languages. So I know just personally, I think that men, we like to be affirmed, you know, just on top of, you know, us affirming ourselves when we are along our journeys, which is very, very crucial because we don't like to be transparent. We were taught, society taught us, when you have a challenge, you need to just get up, put your big boy pants on and move forward. It doesn't make a difference how bad you feel.
Right.
It doesn't make a difference if it's raining, snow, and you need to get up and go. And our women, not only society, but our women had also taken on that same sentiment. Like, you all pretty much followed society, and not from a intentional, that was just something passed down generationally.
Yeah.
That men are not supposed to hurt. Men are not supposed to feel. We are not supposed to speak about our challenges. So I think the first one practically is it's okay not to understand us during our journey. Respect us. But also just, you know, like you said, have that safe space from a non-judgmental standpoint, but affirm us. You see us you see us evolving, you know, speak that life into us. I mean, my wife, I want to run through a brick wall when she's saying things like, you know, babe, I see that you're really working on yourself, not only just for you, but for us.
Yeah.
And I applaud you. That's more than anything else
that
I need. So I think once we get back to being okay with not understanding, you know, each other, because we both have some of the similar traumas, you know, Black men and Black women. So we don't necessarily have to figure each other out. We just need to support each other on our journeys of healing.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. That's amazing. I mean, really to Dave's point, you know, about affirming and, you know, just supporting the healing is that we're scared. We are scared to go through this. For so many reasons. For one, we have to face ourselves. We have to be accountable to ourselves and obviously be responsible, you know, to what Brother Dave was saying, be responsible for what comes of it. But we're scared that if we let you in, if we really let you in, right, and we tell you, and you sit there and you hear us and you listen and you shake your head and you say back to us what we're saying and you affirm us, that when it comes time, or if we get into a situation, an argument, and you're not really understanding, or you're not really hearing me out, that what we're telling you, those deep dark secrets are going to reach somebody else's ears. We're scared.
Woo! You touching on something right now.
We're scared, and I've been through this on many occasions where I gave you the sauce. I gave you exactly what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
But you didn't really hear me when I say, all right, you ready to listen? Are you ready to hear what I'm saying? Okay. All right, here it is. And then what I told you, those deep dark secrets, ends up in somebody else's living room, then you just lost me.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to really set the stage and really let your man know that this is the safest place you'll ever find. You really had to let him know, like, listen, whatever you tell me right here, I don't care if we are going through it. I don't care if we never make it to see another day with one another. I am not letting this, whatever you tell me, it's not leaving this room.
Right.
And you have to go out your way. You really have to go out your way. If you really want to get to that man and make that relationship the best thing you've ever been a part of, then you have to really go out your way and let him know that this is the safest place you'll ever find.
Can I be very honest and transparent?
Please.
I can say, just because of the household that I grew up in, I know that my mother did that for my father, right? However, I can say that most women that I know don't do that. And I can be very honest about that. And that's because they weren't taught that. A lot of women that do that and do create safe space is because 9 times out of 10 they saw it in their household. But a lot of women that take the information to somebody else and say, well, he said blah 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 blah, and I don't think intentionally they're trying to hurt their man. I think it's just something that they didn't learn along the way. I think some people might be intentionally trying to hurt, but I don't think on the surface that most women are trying to hurt their man by sharing that information with other people. They just don't know that that's not something that they need to share.
Sister, I'm going to be totally transparent with you, and I'm going to say this. Though, most women are not doing it intentionally, you've probably more times than not have probably lost that man.
Emotionally.
Yes, emotionally, you probably lost that man. He's going to be in the house. He's probably going to do the things that you ask. He's going to support, he's going to protect, but emotionally, you may not get that man back.
Wow. You just dropped a whole bar. Good God, man.
And there's some emotionless relationships. Plenty of them. It's a plethora.
Plenty
And they
of
don't even
them.
know
And
it.
what you just said, I promise you, out of the emotionless relationships that come to my mind right now, that's exactly what's going on.
Yep.
That is the very thing that's going on that has caused the other things to happen. Like, that was the main thing, and then there are other byproducts that have happened along the way after that are origin of breakdown in the relationship.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yes, ma'am.
Wow. Goodness gracious, man. Y'all are teaching me something tonight. I'm just done. Like, I'm done. Stick a fork in me. I'm done. So, with that being said, what are those valuable traits? Loyalty and honor. are valuable traits. I can gather from that. What are some other valuable traits that men need to know that this is a safe space? What are those traits that come up for you?
Definitely have to be a great listener and really just have a nourishing heart, right? So a lot of times, we understand that the children have a different place in a woman's and a mother's heart opposed than a husband and a woman's. But things have to be switched up a little bit there, because emotionally you can go to a different level with the kids, but when it comes to your husband, your spouse, you can't. It's something there that's not allowing you to do that. So I think really just having that nourishing heart and just being a great listener, and at times a response isn't even required. Like a response isn't even required. Just really listening, not to respond, but really listening to get a real feel of who you have in your household, who you have as your supposed provider, protector. There's a facade right now in a lot of our households because there's not a lot of respect. There's not a lot of listening going on, and there's not a lot of affirmation. So I think really just being there and being vulnerable to the fact that the same journey that you're on, your husband is on, your boyfriend is on. But let's just speak to the spouses, especially if you're married. That's a covenant right there. That's a contract right there that has to be it's the word I'm looking for. It's sacred, but it's something like cultivated.
Yeah.
That's a covenant that has to be cultivated, and with a sacred heart. And if you go out there and you give the blueprint to someone else, and that's what's happening. You may have a wife who's speaking to her girlfriends who may or may not be married, but now you just gave your blueprint that worked for you and your household to someone else. Now you come home to an emotionalist spouse who's supposed to be a builder, a protector, and provide peace for you. So we need to go back to the drawing board first with ourselves. I love what you said, Lola. As men, you're absolutely right. Healing starts with us first. And I knew, although I wanted my wife to understand me, I wanted my kids to understand me, I wanted my family and different people in my association to understand me, I knew ultimately it started with me. I needed to be my biggest cheerleader, even outside of my therapist. Like I would go early in my sessions, I would go to my therapist, go home, and then have an argument with my wife because of the things that I was getting out.
Yeah.
But I didn't have no program for myself.
Right.
I didn't have no additional tool in that toolbox. It was just I was giving everything to my therapist for 40, 45 minutes and then come home and I didn't have any extra work. Now I put this responsibility on my wife, which was totally unfair because she had her own.
Right.
And I realize now that, healed men do heal family when we are real intentional about what it is that we want regarding our healing.
Yes, sir.
There's so much there's so much in this that tells me about the order of things. Like the whole topic about heal men, heal families. It's like when you're speaking and you're talking about you guys being processed and going to therapy and understanding that it's a journey. And I love the fact that you said your wife was like, this is not my responsibility. She can't take on the responsibility of your healing journey. It's an individual journey that we have to tread by ourselves, although we're going to get the benefits from it, but it's not our responsibility to do it for you. And I think a lot of times because women haven't had a lot of personal identity, our existence has been based in association to someone else, right? Meaning we come with this nurturing thing that's innately in us. We're nurturers because we give birth, because we have the ability to have children. But we're somebody's daughter, we're somebody's sister, we're somebody's wife, we're somebody's girlfriend, we're somebody's friend, right? So our existence has always been to to pour into other folk, right? We don't know how
Mm-hmm.
to not attach ourselves to a
Right.
journey of somebody else's. So
Mm-hmm.
in that, how do you tell that woman or that person in your life, like, hey, I'm on this journey and I get that you're on this journey with me, but this is some work that I got to do singularly
Yeah.
before we can do this work collectively?
Mm. You know, I'll start by saying one of the, because you know, I work with high school students. One of the words I say you have to get comfortable with is the word selfish. And you know, obviously, you hear that word, you're like selfish. You know, it has negative connotations. But we have to be selfish about everything, especially when you're healing. You say, you know what, I'm trying to move past my past. Then you have to be selfish. You have to figure out what you need in that moment for that healing journey.
Yeah.
And so the one of the traits I would say, you know, that you know, I look for in a woman is someone who wants a partner, not a man. I
Come
mean,
on now.
if you want a man, that's when, you know, just for IG and take some pictures and, you know, and whatever, then that's what yeah, I'm not that, right? I'm not that. I want to be a partner. I need a partner. You know, I need somebody that's going to be interchangeable with me, right? I need somebody like, listen, I'm not feeling it today. I'm not feeling it today. You know, I can't take the garbage out or whatever.
Right.
You know, today I'm you know, somebody that's going to, you know, do those things, but at the same, going back to Brother Dave said, it's not going to judge me for that, right? My man don't do nothing, you know, he gets sick, blah, 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 right?
Yeah.
So if you want a partner, let's do that. But if you want a man to go show out and, you know, do some IG content with, I'm not that. I'm not that.
Yeah.
I'm not that.
Yeah.
So,
I like that.
Partnership and having safe space is so important in relationships. And I know that our tribe is going to take nuggets from this, because we're talking to things and we're speaking to things that I know that, because I didn't know that about. I guess I've kind of knew it probably in the back of my mind, but I don't think I've ever heard anybody be transparent enough to say you lost somebody because, you know, because of them not holding space for you in an honorable way. I don't think I've ever heard that before.
Healing is precious. And, you know, we talk about the Band-Aid effect all the time. It's like, you know, you got to take it off. You got to open up. You have to open up. And when I open up to you, I understand that, you know, I'm being vulnerable to you. You know, and if you don't give me, you know, what I need in order to heal this wound, it's going to create infection. And that's what's happening in a lot of our households. Honestly, there's not a safe haven. There's not a safe space. And that's only because you have two individuals really trying to understand each other in the midst of this, in the midst of their healing journeys. And healing is sacred. Like when you go to your therapist and you're talking and you're emoting, a lot of times in that moment you change. Like you actually have to go back, because you're talking about things that you haven't talked about probably ever. You have to actually go back to that person. So now I bring it to you, maybe as my wife or female husband, and you go bring that information to someone else. That causes infection. So now we can't move forward. Now we actually go even further back. And my wife has done a phenomenal job. She's been one of my biggest cheerleaders. And actually, on top of my formal therapist, I actually have opened up to the point where she processes a lot of my emotions, because I know I have a blind spot. I know that there are things that I can't see in me that my wife can see in me.
Yeah.
So before I become so emotionally erratic, I have a conversation with her. you know, and it's been like doing us wonders just on terms of where we are as parents and things like that, because we all have blind spots, but not so many of us have those individuals in our associations that we even give space to be able to allow. You have to allow somebody to give to, but it starts with you. And where I am now wasn't, you know, years ago, but through my own individual journey, you know, my wife saw through my actions and she started to reap the benefits, and then she was more susceptible to helping me along. And then same goes with her and her journey.
Yeah. Yeah. Can we
That's
give it up for wifey? Can we give it up for wifey? That's a partner right there, man.
Right.
That's a partner. That's a beautiful thing. So we're gonna get to this scenario, you guys. We got to get to this scenario where we get off that the world has been buzzing about. I wrote about it on my IG and Facebook page, my personal page, and I gave people a different point of view. I didn't give like your typical point of view where, you know, he was wrong, he was right, or whatever. I gave it context in the sense that, okay, I know that Will Smith has been on this journey for a while, and I know that he's known as the non-controversial, likable black guy, right? He talks about it, is well documented in his book, as well as his docuseries where he was writing the book. He talked about how he felt inadequate as a child, where he couldn't defend his mother when his father was beating his mother up. So he always felt like the boy that never was able to protect his female sphere of influence, his tribe, his female loved ones. Throw that in the hat, throw in the entanglement, throw in the fact that his last role that he got an Oscar for was about a man who fiercely defended his daughters. And he talks about that in all of his interviews, and that was something that really, 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 really resonated with him. And then on Sunday night, comedian Chris Rock makes a statement, takes the dig, and he was laughing initially because I watched it enough times to find out, okay, what is this really about? He was laughing initially. He looks at his wife. His wife is like totally rolling her eyes because she didn't like what the comedian said. And then somewhere in his space, he made a decision to get up before the world to see, to go and assault somebody on international TV for the entire world to see. So I'm gonna throw out some words to you guys, and I want to take one of them, but I'm gonna throw out some words to you guys, and you guys can just choose whichever one you want. Emasculation, displaced anger, protection, performance-based love. I'm gonna take that one, and ego. Whichever one you want to choose.
I'm gonna go with displaced anger. I'll go there.
Okay.
I was gonna do the same thing. Well, I'll do something about displaced anger. Give me something in. You see, emasculation,
protection.
Okay, I'll take protection.
Ego.
Yeah, ego.
Yeah, I'll take protection.
All right.
Should I start? Okay. Well, I will start by saying, you know, he protected his woman, right? Right or wrong, you know, good way, bad way. You know, he showed force. He showed that, you know, he and his wife were not people to be reckoned with.
Right.
That at the core of man, that is where we stand, is that we are protectors. So he surely did that. You know, obviously there's different levels, and I think people need to understand that there's different ways to protect a woman. There's different ways to. And I will even go even further, is asking your woman, how should I protect you? What is the best way for me to protect your love? to protect
Mm.
you as a person,
Mm.
right? Because if that was Brother Dave, myself, and we slapped somebody else, right, we could go to prison.
Right.
We could go to prison,
Right.
right? And you know, you hear the comments of, you know, that's the love I want. I want that real love. It's not real love. I don't want it. But you're not gonna have a man. You're not gonna have a partner, I should say. Your partner's gonna be in prison because that's the love you wanted.
What
Yeah.
about her protection of him?
Oh,
That
now,
too. Yeah.
that's what I'm talking about. That's where the partnership comes in, right?
Yeah.
Is that you have to, in that moment, you got to be on your feet. You got to look in that man's eyes or something. I know it was quick. You got to get up and say, "Will, no."
No.
Yep.
Like you
Right there.
were saying, Brother Dave, you were saying that your wife sees things that you don't necessarily see sometimes.
Right.
And
Right.
we as
Absolutely.
women, we have a very keen sense of intuition.
Mm-hmm.
When
Mm-hmm.
something in the room is off, we know it, we see it, we're trained to see it because we have the ability to bear children. So we're going to be looking and scanning the room. So when you guys haven't seen what happened in every conversation, we have seen and can point out every single thing that's going on around you while we're having the conversation with you. So I think there was some accountability there that she should have taken as far as protecting him on his night as his wife.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Because they're a corporation, you know,
They're a
and
corporation.
you know, they're a corporation, and when you're in covenant like that, we have to protect each other. And I think there was a lot of displaced anger there. You know, Will have been the punching bag for the last few years, just in terms of what, you know, him and Jada both willingly allowed to be put out because, you know, you guys both made a decision as husband and wife to kind of put out, you know, what was going on in your household. And whenever you do that, you know, it's going to come with, you know, a lot of opinion. It's going to come with a lot of different ears, eyes. And I think he's definitely been in the comments. I believe Will has definitely been in the comments, the proverbial comments in terms of just what people have been saying about him. And his ego definitely kicked in. His pride kicked in. That little boy inside of him kicked in once he looked over to his wife. He probably saw his mom and what was going on with that. And, you know, he just decided, you know what, I have to do this. But that could have cost him, you know, ultimately the respect of, you know, we don't even talk about money, just the respect of just what you've built, you know, as a black man, knowing first and foremost, you're at an award show. Let's just be honest, that's not even really for us in a sense. It wasn't made for us. And you've gotten it out of the mud, Will. So I think that they both could have did a better job of really protecting each other.
You're right.
Like Brother G was saying, really asking your wife or your husband, hey, and how can I be a protector to you? Because it's one thing if there's a physical threat, then we're going all in. But if there's something that could potentially take me away from my wife and my children for years, that's when my wife has to be able to have that blind spot, be able to see where I can't see, and vice versa. Because we both need to be here.
Right.
You know, for our children. So.
Right. I want to talk about performance-based love. And the reason why I want to talk about performance-based love is a lot of us in our community grew up in households where our love language via our parents was based in performance. Right? If you do something for me, it wasn't based in our being, it was based in our doing. Whether it's you make the bed, you wash the dishes, you get good grades, whatever that is, you become an actor, you become a rapper, you know what I mean? So maybe he was, and he talks about his father, you know, from the standpoint, his father was ex-military, very strict, stern man, and his version of love was from my point of view and from what I saw, was based in performance. Like, you build this building, you create this building. I love you and I'm going to praise you because you did this.
Yes.
You come back on time, you get rewarded for that. Right? So in that moment, I thought I saw a hurt little boy that was going up there like, oh, you hurt. I'm going to go perform for you. I'm going to get some love from this because I'm protecting you in this moment where I've never been able to protect you. I've never been able to protect my mom. That's why it's important for our men to heal, because if we are as healed as our wound that we haven't healed, if we're walking around, showing up as the version of us that hasn't healed, then it's not only affecting us, it's affecting everybody around us. It's affecting our whole family.
Yep.
And it starts from the head coming down. Because now, because of who he is, now people are, I've seen people where it's like, oh, I'm going to slap somebody on sight now.
Yeah. That influence,
That influence.
He has a, yep.
I mean, let's be honest. I mean, we are being plagued by performance-based love conversations. Everywhere you turn, okay.
What you doing for me?
Yeah, exactly. What you doing? You providing the sex, you providing the money. What are you providing? Right? And
transactional.
If we, transactional. If we are going to heal the Black family, everybody has to shut up.
Shut up.
Everybody has to shut up. If you are listening to these podcasts and these talking heads that are putting things in your brain that, yeah, you're right. Yeah, he don't make enough money for me. I can't be with him. Right? Oh, she's not giving me enough sex or whatever. It's not going to work out. It is not going to work out. Again, this is where the difference between a partner and a woman and a man.
Yep.
It's a difference. You're not looking for partnership. You're looking for a man. I'm looking for a girl. Right? You're not. Are you looking for a partnership?
You're looking for a performer, not a partner.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or a performer. And we're not healing past that because we listen to folks putting that stuff in our ear. And going back to what Brother Dave said earlier, if you start to heal, that stuff starts to melt away like it's butter in a hot pan. Because everything just moves out the way. Your hearing is a little bit clearer. What you see is clearer. What you feel is clearer. And all that nonsense, if you have a partnership, it just falls by the wayside.
Right.
Yeah.
And what I love about this conversation is that that you guys are on a healing journey, because our conversation is not surface. It's not surface level. A lot of conversations that I'm hearing, whether it's podcast or whatever they're doing, it's like I don't like this polarization of us as Black men and Black women getting on podcasts and tearing each other down. Right? I don't know what's going on in our society where I don't trust you enough to have a safe space, and I'm just going to tear you down. And it's like, I'm so tired of those conversations. That's why I keep doing this every week, because I want us to have transparent, healing, therapeutic conversations that we can do this deep dive. We might not always agree on every single thing.
Sure.
Like you said, I don't necessarily need to understand you, try to figure it out and understand you. I need to listen to you. I need to hear you. And then I need to process it and say, what Brother Dave said, what Brother G said, this is something that I can apply to my own life. Or if I'm not applying it to my life, I can definitely tell my sister, hey, let me tell you what they said tonight.
Indeed.
You're not going to believe this. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather have those conversations.
Pay it forward.
Pay it forward. What are you guys working on besides the podcast, your Wake and Rise? You guys have got to go to the Kingdom Bros. And come on, Sunday morning, it's at what time?
9.
9. Is that Central or Eastern?
Eastern.
Eastern, 9 a.m. You got to tune in because their conversations are amazing. Like amazing, transformative conversations, just like what we're having here tonight. What are you guys working on that we need to tune in for?
Well, I know my brother Gerald and I, we're looking at the transition into the podcasting where we actually do some, record some live.
Yeah.
YouTube, really, create a YouTube space, but really just continue to connect and just do the work one brick at a time.
Yeah.
We started this journey about 16, 17 months ago.
Right.
And, it's been gaining a lot of traction ever since, but we're doing it at a real organic level right now.
Yes.
And we're starting to see the doors open up. Hopefully we can get in tune with, not hopefully, but the goal is to get more in tune with other individuals, who are on the same journey.
Yeah.
And really just spread this message of love, peace, tranquility, proactivity, productivity. So we look just more to just transition into the YouTube space and see if we can continue along. Because this is not for content. This is for legacy. And we speak about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I know when I stumbled across, and it's not even stumble, it's alignment. When you have connections where you just show up in spaces and it's just like, okay, these brothers are talking from a real authentic place. And I know it because when I see it, you just know when you have those conversations, you just know. And I was just like, I gotta get them on the show. I gotta get them on the show. When I reached out to y'all were like, yeah, we'll do it. I was like, oh my God, I can't wait. I was so excited because I think when you're a part of this tribe and you speak the same language, you just get excited about pushing our culture in the right direction. You know what I'm saying? I started Heal Black Joy out of frustration because it was just so much going on with George Floyd's murder, with the social justice unrest that was going on in the country. And I was just like, I want to be a part of the solution. I don't want to be a part of the problem anymore. I don't want to talk about, who's fighting who, what they're doing, and who's wearing what. I don't want to do that anymore. I want to have some conversations that are authentic with our people. Because somebody said, oh, I want to send you a therapist. I was like, is she Black? Is he Black? Because, honestly, I don't mean any harm. I don't have a problem with our counterparts, but I want to heal us. That's my passion. Like you say, your purpose and your passion. That's what my passion is, because I know that we need it. We see it each and every day. We need it. So I'm just so excited and so honored that you guys are on tonight. And I like to ask this question and let this be our final question. I started Heal Black Joy because I said I was going to be the Harriet Tubman of bringing joy to our community, right? I want to see us have joy, because on the other side of that is what lives is our excellence, our truth, our families healing, our children healing, this next generation that's, pushing the envelope. Like, they're so bold in their spirit and in their energy. And I always say, wherever the joy resides, all of the excellence for our community resides. And it starts with our family unit. So what does Heal Black Joy mean to you as Black men?
I would say Heal Black Joy is it is our passion, is our purpose, to what Dave was saying. And it's something that we talk about even Wake and Rise and all the time. It's something that's going to add to our time capsule. And Heal Black Joy is the ultimate goal for us.
Yeah.
Right. And a couple of weeks ago, Brother Dave made this great distinction between happiness and joy. Right. We use the word happiness so easily. Right. I'm happy.
Yeah.
Right. I'm happy. And even in that conversation, and the great thing about when you have conversations with like-minded people is that things come out of you, you hear things differently because of that. And so I had to erase that word happiness and make it all about joy and being joyous and changing my energy around those certain words. But Heal Black Joy is a thing that we will put on our time capsule when we're not here, is that these folks were breaking down barriers and, you know, dismantling secrets in our households to bring out that Black joy that is deep in us.
Yes.
And so that's my 2 cents.
Yes, that's good. I love it.
I love it. Heal Black Joy for me is a lot of what my brother G stated. I really feel like, you know, there's a transparency there when you're talking about healing Black joy, right? Not allowing any extrinsic value or motivations to be of Heal Black joy, really allowing your intrinsic value and your own accountability, your own intentionality to heal Black joy. So it's really just taking a look in the mirror, affirming that I can, I will, I must on my journey, understanding that, you know, I am king, I am queen, and understanding that what you do will never, ever be without notice. Because this is great for not only us, there's going to be individuals that we won't even meet in our lineage that is going to be speaking Heal Black joy. So it's definitely transparency, it's definitely tranquility, and it's love. So let's heal Black joy.
Yeah. And legacy. You guys talk about legacy. It's about legacy and what we're passing on to the next generation. I love this conversation, you guys. I love what you guys are doing in this space. You guys have an ally in me. Whatever you guys are working on, whatever you need, I'm here for you. I appreciate you guys' expertise, your experience, and just your love for our people and your love for what Black men need to do, and that is heal. Because when we heal you guys, it heals us. We heal, our families are healed, and then we get to that joy, and then we can create that legacy that we're trying to leave for our future generations. So thank you for coming on tonight. I appreciate
we thank you for having us.
Lola,
and continue to heal Black joy. And yes, we are going to stay in alignment and continue along this journey.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Just let me know if there's anything that you guys need. Let me know, and I am there.
You're going to be on Wake and Rise now, so, you know, make sure
we got to get
you check your DMs now.
Okay.
Yes. We publicly edifying and extending that invitation. That is, it's your turn to grace, you know, to grace our platform, because that's what we call it, our platform.
Yeah, man.
You know, we're all in the same space. So
I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. I want to thank my Heal Black Joy tribe for listening in tonight. And for those that will be listening later on, that will catch it on our YouTube channel on Friday, I want to say good night to you guys and thank you for listening. Y'all be well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.